In today's video, we're going to be having a look at the Uniflex Universal Cable by Inlky. Check it out. What's going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. Before we start then, full transparency as always, this Uniflex kit was given to me for free by Inlky, but all of the thoughts and opinions in this video are all my own. And with that said, let's get on with the video. Recently I've been working on a lot of different IoT, smart home and other electronics projects, and with all of these projects I've got lots of different cables and chargers, all just sort of going all over the place, all over my desk. So to help mitigate the mess and clean up the cable spaghetti, I thought I'd have a look at some universal cables. Generally when I think of a universal cable, I think of something a little like this, or this, or this, or even this. Now I know what you're thinking, and yes, you would be correct. Those cable designs are all ugly. I've used universal cables like that in the past, and I'm really not a fan of the whole Medusa head style ones, and I really do not like those triple-headed maca looking ones. With the whole design thing, it's all each to their own, so get one that you like the look of and one that works best for your setup. I was recently using one a bit like that third image that I showed, where it's one cable with 3 short cables coming off it, and each of those short cables is a different connector. But my issue with that was when it was on the desk, those little connectors that come off it are just a bit too short. Again, it's each to their own. You may like one that I don't like, and I may like one that you don't like. Or you may find one that's better situated to your desk setup, or you may even just really like those maca head ones. So what defines a universal cable? Well, I think the first thing that defines it is kind of given away with its name. So the whole universal cable, meaning it's universally compatible with lots of different connectors. And I think the second thing that defines a universal cable is its durability. So you probably noticed that within a lot of those images, a lot of those cables were making use of the braided style cable as opposed to the standard rubbery texture. And the reason for this is that that braided cable is much stronger and more durable, and it won't end up all frayed and dirty. Like when you go to that one friend's house and they have those cables that used to be white and they're now yellow and they're all frayed and they're just one step away from giving you an electric shock. I never know how people actually manage to do that to cables, but it is a thing. I would also say a unique or stylish design defines the universal cable, because usually with these things you're replacing existing cables to have this one cable that will do everything. For a universal cable then, I'm saying it needs to be compatible with multiple different connector heads, it needs to be strong and durable, and it also needs to have a nice stylish design. And this is pretty much where the Uniflex cable comes in. The Uniflex is a magnetic universal cable created and supplied by a UK company known as Inlky. All orders are hand-packed and nothing is drop-shipped, so you can expect high-quality control and tidy packaging. Orders also come with a 30-day returns policy if you change your mind after you've received your order. You also get a 12-month warranty on both the cable and nibs for peace of mind. With your Uniflex order, you'll receive everything in a hand-packaged box. Within this box you'll have the cable lengths that you chose and also a smaller box with your magnetic nibs in. Along with the cable and nibs you also get a little plastic tool called the port picker, and what this thing does is just clean out any debris you've got lodged within your phone's charging port. Once you've cleaned out your device's charging port with the port picker, you're going to want to select your magnetic nib. Currently with the Uniflex cable there's 3 different supported connectors. You've got USB-C, USB micro or the lightning connector. You're going to want to just choose your connector and then insert it into your device like you would a normal cable. With the nib inserted, you can start making use of your newly found magnetic powers, and you can attach and detach the Uniflex cable. The nibs and cable are also phone case friendly, So any phone case you can currently fit your charger into, you're more than likely going to be able to connect the Uniflex to it. The bit of plastic that houses the nib also doubles as the nib remover tool. To remove the nib, all you do is slide the tool over the top and just pull the nib out. So this all seems good, but what about when you go to that friend's house with the frayed yellow cables? Well, you could do one of two things. You could be the nice guy and buy them their own Uniflex bundle, or you could attach your nib remover tool to your keys. That way when you're out and about or you're at that friend's house, you can just simply remove your nib and store it on your keys for later. And then you can risk life and limb and have a go at using that frayed yellow cable. We're going to quickly run through some of my pros and cons for the Uniflex, and then we'll wrap it up with my overall thoughts. We'll start with my pros then. So my first pro is going to be the actual magnet head. When the cable's connected to your phone, that magnetic connection is very strong and it's not just flimsy, it's not going to fall off, or waving it around a little bit, it's not going to make it drop. So yeah, that's a pro for me, a nice strong magnet. My second pro then is also design related, and it's the actual build quality of the cable. Now this cable looks premium and it also feels premium. All the different parts that make up the cable feel nice and strong and sturdy. The whole cable is made up of high quality components, and you'll definitely notice it when you actually physically hold it or see it. My third pro for this cable is probably unique to me, but I really like the light that's actually on the top of the magnetic head. So when you've got this thing plugged into power, the top little lightning bolt there glows green, and you might think that that's just a little thing, but when you're in a blacked out room or under your desk and you can just see that little green light, it's so easy to find and then just magnet your phone or device onto it. Another pro for me is the magnetic nib. Having that in your phone stops dust and debris getting into the charging port, but it also stops small amounts of water and moisture getting in there. I always have the plus size iPhones and they're not the best thing to fit into your pocket, so usually the top of my phone's usually sticking out, and in the recent iPhone updates they enabled a feature that if any moisture or water is detected in that charging port, it stops your phone from charging. Obviously this is a safety feature as it's going to stop your phone from accepting a charge, and you're less likely to burn your house down. And since having this magnetic nib in my phone and I've been out and about in the same kind of weather conditions, I've not had that issue where it's telling me that there's water in the phone. My fifth and final pro for this cable is that wherever you put it in the house, it's going to stay. Because it requires the magnetic nibs, it stops people from taking the charger or stealing your charging place. So now when I have friends and family come round, the chargers stay exactly where I put them and they don't go walkabouts. Moving on then, let's have a look at some of my cons for the Uniflex. My first con is the nib remover tool. So the nib remover tool holds the nibs when they're not in use, and it also obviously removes the nibs from your devices. For me, the design of the nib remover tool feels a little bit out of place. You've got this lovely premium cable and these premium nibs, and the thing that holds the nibs and actually attaches to your keys is just this little bit of plastic. So for me, I'd like to see the material of the nib remover tool change, maybe change it to the plastic that's used on kind of the base of the magnetic head. Now, there's nothing wrong at all with the design or material that it's currently in, it's just I'd personally prefer a higher quality material for something you're going to attach to your keys. Next up is again another kind of design feature, so it's not something that's wrong with the product, it's just something that could maybe be done in the future. So I'd like it if there was, instead of USB-A, if you could get a USB-C version. So maybe just have another version of the cable that's USB-C on one end and then the magnetic head on the other. My last con then, and again this one's unique to me, is that you can only get two different lengths of cable. So you can either get a 1 meter cable or a 2 meter cable, but I have an actual need where I'd need a 3 meter cable. So my cons are nothing to do with the working order of the Uniflex cable, they're more of just suggestions for improvements that I would like to see in maybe future iterations of the cable. So let's wrap this up then. So does the Uniflex cable meet my universal cable needs that I mentioned at the beginning of the video? First of all, I said it needs to be compatible with multiple different connector heads. The Uniflex has a magnetic head and 3 different nib connectors that you can connect to, so it definitely meets this one. Next up, I said it needs to be strong and durable. The Uniflex makes use of a military grade nylon braided cable, which is very strong, and also it uses high quality components, which are also again very strong. So I'd definitely say it meets the second one too. And my last point was the design of the cable needed to be stylish and unique, and if you've not been able to tell throughout this video, this thing is definitely stylish and unique. I like to think that the idea for this cable was somebody going around collecting up all these different cables. Apart from the Macca head one, they just grabbed that one and chucked that one in the bin. So they got all these different cables, they got a magsafe cable and they just squished them all together, and then out came the Uniflex. That's what I like to think anyway. If you are thinking of switching over to the Uniflex, I would definitely recommend buying some extra nib packs, just so you've got some spare ones and you've got enough for all of your devices. Once you've kitted out all of your devices, you'll literally have one cable to rule them all. And if you're not a universal cable user, you should definitely give this one a go. Make use of Inlky's 30-day returns policy and just try one out for yourself. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts on universal cables are and what you think of the Uniflex cable. If you enjoyed this video and found it interesting, don't forget to drop me a like. And if you're not already, hit that subscribe button and ding dong the notification bell and you'll be alerted to any future videos that I do. As always, a massive thank you to these awesome dudes. These awesome dudes are my Patreons. If you're interested in supporting my channel and becoming one of these awesome dudes, there'll be a link to my Patreon in the description below. Thank you for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.